Oh, yeah, it's another Wednesday evening CNC hangout where I get to hang out with you and you get to hang out with all our CNC brothers and sisters. I'm Garrett with IDC Woodcraft, a company that provides you with your CNC router bits, and I make a ton of videos to help you out. And tonight, brothers and sisters, we are going to be talking CNC business, but we're not going to be talking regular business. We're going to talk about the secrets behind what makes a business successful. So you should find this to be an interesting show tonight. We'll get into this in just a little bit, but first I want to say a couple of ground rules and say we are again sorry that our sister Kate is not here with us, and I'm waiting to hear back from her, see how things are going with her. She's kind of whatever's going on, she's keeping it to herself now, that's what we do. But the show must go on. And so here I am, and we have Liberty and Julianne in the background taking care of things. We'll pop them out in a minute, and they can share with you what the last few days have been like for all of us and who the first person is that commented. And of course, we have the ball cap discount that someone wins themselves a ball cap, because last week I said, if you can come up with a good discount code name, then you will win yourself a ball cap, and we will apply that to tonight, where we will say you can get a ball cap at a 10% discount with that discount code. So Liberty, I think, will be the one that shares that. They got it going on. I can't figure this stuff out. Anyway, I want to say, first of all, keep things clean, and zero tolerance policy here at IDC Woodcraft. So we're all a bunch of brothers and sisters trying to make some cool stuff, and we don't need people dogging us, and we just don't accept that around here. All right, let's say hi to some of our friends. Here we got Mark Eldon and Crafty Jans LLC. I like that name. Richard Hitt and Mark Lindsay, of course. Brooks and Jack in the Shop. What's going on there, Jack? Who else we got? I just got to kind of scroll down this list. Nicasio. Sounds like that's a South American name. And let's see, I said Ellen, I think. Oz is on board, and Flash Gordon. What a cool name. I love it when people pick names like that. I'm hoping that that's your like real name. That would be so cool. And Steve Kennard, excuse me. Darren, and Darren is from Tacoma, Washington. I'm just scrolling down the list. Rocco, what's going on from North Greenbush, New York? Who else we got here? We got 103 people on board at the moment. They will continue to pop on board. Joseph from Virginia. And Michael Clifton. Crafty Joe Jan, I already said that one. There's Axeman, AXXXMANN. What's going on? And so if you are on Facebook, watching this on Facebook, you want to come over to the IDC Woodcraft YouTube channel, and that's where all the dialogue is taking place. We also got Scott from Chicago. And boy, girls, you've been talking to a lot of people. I got to keep scrolling past your name. But that's okay. Steve, and Lyle. What's going on, Lyle? Dan. And okay. Well, there's a bunch of you on board, 115. Numbers are climbing. And I first want to put out an invite to our sister, Ellen. I want to bring you on our live stream here. And it would be really cool if we can pull you in tonight, because what you have accomplished is very relevant to the things I'm going to be talking about. So you can just put into the comments yes or no, and the girls will figure out how to get the link to you so you can come on board and share with people about your journey and where you've gotten to, and this cool stuff that you're doing right now in this whole world of CNC. So we're going to bring the girls out. They are in the background, Liberty and Julianne.
Sorry, I just read an exciting comment.
I know. I just saw that one too.
Yeah.
Yep. So we got the girls here, and as many of you know, we on Friday we released the IDC Woodcraft calipers, and that's these puppies right here. And for the CNC insiders, those who are on the IDC Woodcraft email list, whenever we release a product, that I give you guys a discount for a short period of time. And in this case, we did a little extra special where we threw in some golden tickets that were to give whoever received the golden tickets a shopping spree and some like major M&Ms, and Liberty's going to carve your name plaque and what have you. But everybody won, because if one didn't have a golden ticket in it, it had another special discount code just for you guys. And so in the background, I want to let you all know something about this kind of stuff. But first, Julianne, who was the first? Who was the first person to comment tonight?
The very first person to comment was Brian Neighbor.
Hey, Brian. We'll do the happy dance for Brian. And pronto. How many hours before we launched did he?
I think it was probably, I don't know, I think it was maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours after I did it. And I actually posted it at 10:05 a.m. Eastern.
Okay. And Mark Lindsay was very courteous. He said, I'm not going to be the first one today. He made a comment there. And Mark sent me an interesting picture, which I'll show here in a little bit. So first of all, what we're going to be talking about tonight is CNC business, but we're not going to talk about the technical stuff. We're going to talk a little bit more at a deeper level so that I can help you with your business endeavors to really understand some foundations about business. But first, girls, let's talk about what has happened over the last few days. When we did that release, we released the calipers at 5:30 on Friday, and anybody who was on the CNC Insiders list had a discount code where they got 15% off and a chance to win the golden ticket. But I want to let everybody know that stuff started months ago. Whenever something comes out from IDC Woodcraft, it takes at least 4 months to make this stuff happen. Talk about it, girls. What has life been like for the last 4 days, and what did it take for us to come to the point of releasing a product?
As far as to come to the point of releasing a product, the process is so vast between, deciding what product we're going to do next, testing that product not only in various styles, if there's certain things we want to change about it, if it's a new bit, there's a lot of testing that goes on, and we change, cutting lengths and so on. But then, once we decide what we want, then we go, okay, here's 6 different places to have make it for us. Try all of those. Okay, we like this. We don't like that. We like this. We don't like that. Okay, can we get our name on it? And so on and so forth.
Yep. Then we got to come up with labels.
Yep.
Then we got to repackage when we have to. And
yep.
Folks, these girls label everything. Every package you have has a label on it. 800 of these things, they put these stickers on. Just that. Liberty got into the cases 4 times, I think, put screwdrivers in, things like that. Just we had to design the scale, so it's branded. So yeah. Yep. What else goes on? Website,
pictures, testing, videos, then there's, once you get towards, okay, we're kind of looking towards the end, we want to start telling people about this. Then there's the marketing. There's even more work when it comes to our Beast, Badger, Hog boys with their characters and coming up with their characters and perfecting the design of their character, and then taking their character, putting it on the label, and then putting on a sticker, and then putting it on the thing, and having 10 different ways it can go.
It's a lot of little details that most people do not realize go into each product that you get. exactly like they said, we design labels, we design the stickers. We have to go through different, mock-ups of those. Does it look good? Is this too shiny?
Yes, we
Is
have
this
to.
black or is this gray? So
Yep.
it's quite a bit, and then bringing it all together is quite the process. Going through the checklist of, do we have every single thing that Liberty just mentioned? Did we miss a step? All compiling to the precipice of the release. And then it's the throwing the amount of product into inventory and watching those numbers for people clicking go up. My gosh, it's nerve-wracking, it's stressful, it's exciting, it's a whole lot of emotion that goes into something that we hope that you all will enjoy.
Yeah.
And that will last too.
And
we
then,
go for quality.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's the back end, and then the last few days after release, what has been the deal?
Sunday night, looking at what I was coming into Monday morning, definitely decided I was going to be there before 7.
All 4 of us were packing for 2 solid days.
Yep. We put everybody to work. Adam was on the discounts and the golden tickets, and wrapping up calipers. Garrett stepped in on wrapping up. A few people are actually going to get notes from Garrett's because he stepped in on writing notes too, which has been a while since anybody's gotten a note from him. So covet that. And I had Julianne as my right-hand man on the direct shipping. Like, I just slapped the singular calipers out, and then any kind of variant order she was putting through, building boxes when everything wouldn't fit and configuring it. And
the amount of tape that goes into getting things to fit in one box.
Right.
I went through at least 8 rolls of tape in the 2 days just on the shipping aspect of it.
Yep. And just think, you got yours in a box, and we had to fold every one of those boxes. So there's a question from Patrick: how many sold? So
I'm looking at that right now. I saw that, and I'm excited.
We did not run
see
out,
the answer.
But we did.
Let's see.
We did get close.
Let me look. Let me do some math here.
All right. Well, make sure that you also, after you get off here, just put in the background, remember the discount code for the hat. And
yep.
Let's see. 667 sold.
667 calipers.
Mm-hmm.
So it left us with about 140.
Yep.
It left us with about 140, which, that's okay. We didn't run out. Thank goodness. I had to pull safety stock on that. Yeah. But anyway, yep. So that's what went on in the background. And thank you all. The golden tickets have been mailed, so they should be hitting the mailboxes. I've seen some comments already that some people have already gotten theirs. And we'll see. Nobody knows which ones these golden tickets are in.
Nope.
Nobody knows.
It's random times 4.
Yeah. So make sure you email us. All right. So we are going to get into this discussion tonight. Thank you, girls, and keep these guys squared up in the background. All right. So here's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about business. And what I want to share with you tonight is many of us, or probably all of us, have seen these videos that people put out. Sell this, I made X number of dollars selling this. And they talk about it in the videos. But what they don't do is tell you the underlying stories most of the time. And what it does, it kind of puts us in this mental space, especially for brand new, that I can do that. I can do that. It's always made to sound easier than it really is. And so then we get in, and then we're not really sure where to start off at. And so I can cover some of the basics here right up front, but I do want to get into the deeper stuff. And So first of all, ask your questions, put in your questions, put a question mark or two, and then ask your question about business. My hat's on crooked. I don't want to be like one of these guys there. So, so let's talk a little bit about this. First of all, there's all these videos that say sell this, you can sell that. Here's how I sold this, and here's how I sold that. Now, for the most part, these are very reasonable things and bits of information to understand. But we can quickly start to get overwhelmed when we're watching these videos, because now we're seeing sell this, and it sends up a lot of confusion in our head that we really don't know where to start. So at a technical level, right, for where to sell, I'm going to cover that one real quick. If you've not been in business before, start off on Etsy. Get your feet wet there. I hear people complain about the cost of Etsy. Etsy is a service that's provided for you. They've got the entire platform built. Learn how to work with it. Use that as a learning platform. All right. And then when it comes to cost, the cost charging for your products, well, number one, you never want to race to the bottom. You don't want to try to compete with everybody else. All right. So that's, when you're doing that, you are racing to the bottom. You're cutting yourself short. So we don't want to underprice ourselves. We always want to determine the market, but we also need to remember regional, right? Regional, what I mean by that is you can go to a little flea market. We have a farmer's market across the street every Saturday, and you can bring your projects there. You're not going to do real well. But then once a year, we have this this art festival in town, Chautauqua, and you should come to it. Looks like we got some company tonight. All right. You should come to it so you can come visit me. But now you're talking a big art festival where people are wanting to spend money. But there's cheap venues. There's not so cheap venues where people, just the regional, the mindset, the type of people that are at maybe a craft fair or a Saturday thing. This can be a really low budget, and all you're doing is nitpicking, right? So you want to find your higher budget type of thing. You always want to think in terms of not how much should I charge, but more like who is willing to pay more for the stuff that I do. And that's what you want to kind of focus on. That's not always easy to do, especially when you've not done business. For the most part, people who have come, many of us are retirees, we come off the workforce. And our job was to go into work, do our job, come home and collect our paycheck, and not really be business oriented. We left that up to the people at the top. And so there's a bit of a mind shift that we have to start going through. So in this whole idea of sell this and sell that, we want to back up. I'm going to be talking about this in just a little while. What I want to talk first is another technical thing. Should you start an LLC right off the bat? Should you build a business plan? And I will tell you now that I started IDC Woodcraft in 2020 in the middle of COVID. IDC Woodcraft is now a brand. It's a multi-million-dollar company, right? Thanks to you. We contribute thousands of dollars to St. Jude and other organizations. But we've never lost the idea that you are on the other side of this business, right? You are the ones that makes this business work. So the idea that comes behind that, right, is building a vision. This is the first thing I want you to think about in your jump out of the workforce and into CNC business. If you are doing this with a sense of desperation, oh my gosh, I got to make some money, right? And you're focused on that. This is a mindset of what we call lack mindset, right? We are trying to grasp something that we don't have. And in universal terms, right? Whether it's biblical, these are things in the Bible too. It's all universal. When I say universal, it's a spiritual component. Is the sense of neediness, a sense of desperation, is a is something, an energy we put out. And with that type of energy, you have to read it in yourself. And if you have that kind of energy, then what's going to happen is nobody wants desperation. People can sense it. And it comes out in our languaging, in our words, the way we view the world. I have on my little list here is attitude is everything. And I can't stress that enough. A positive gratitude attitude is the first thing we have to embrace. It's realizing you are on a journey of learning how to do business. Business is a completely separate way of thinking than being an employee. So for those who have worked to try to sell stuff and they don't see their business really taking off, it's because you are probably still coming from a perspective of an employee. There are two ends of business. There is the consumer end, and there is the provider end, or the business end. IDC Woodcraft over here is a business that provides a service, it provides education, and I provide the resources to help you become a better creator. I pay attention to what the industry does not provide, so that I can provide that to you, and I do that by paying attention to what questions keep coming out there, or what keeps going on. It's like the checklist here. I came up with this checklist because I saw too many people breaking bits, ruining projects, and just forgetting stuff, right? So we do this checklist now. I've got that available to you. And what is it? Where's the other thing? This chucking guide. No, it's a little bright. Nobody in the industry provides this type of information. It tells you how to chuck up your router bits and how not to. IDC Woodcraft has a 90-day guarantee. If you break it, we replace it, no questions asked. And I can tell you, I get many, many router bits back where people do not properly chuck their router bits. And so I provide this type of resource. I'm telling you this because I want to set a foundation of what my vision is. And based on that, I want you to learn how to develop a vision for yourself and your future. When we want right now a lack of the idea is what do they call it? Instant gratification. We want delayed gratification, because the one thing in business that does not work is I want it now. It doesn't work that way. It never will work that way. Business takes time, and it takes us to take the time to start learning. This is why I have a mentor. I've had the same mentor for 5 years now. He's a 9-figure earner. And so we want to learn not from those who are at the same level as us. We want to learn from people who are already at the point that we want to be at. And this can be a tough pill to swallow for many, because number one, we become uncomfortable. We're comfortable with people that we like, that think like us, and are kind of live in the same way of thinking. And so the best thing you can do is find someone who has already been successful in business. If you can find someone who's successful in CNC business, then what you should do is go find them and get their advice. But I can tell you one thing: most people who have gotten their success will not sit there and just keep handing things out for free. The idea of free is no one values free. And so we have to honor that, and when we're seeking help from other people who are there, mentors, if you will. For example, in a couple of weeks, we're going to have Hamilton on board. Hamilton has had quite a bit of experience out in the marketplace, making projects and selling them. And so he's got a lot of feedback he can deliver to you in the practical part of it. So does Ryan from Cutting It Close. He's built a multi-million-dollar business. We had him on here as a special guest. But these guys have this certain way of thinking and realizing that this is what I want you to get. What I want you to understand is we are not just selling items. We're not just selling products. We are also worthy of receiving the exchange. In other words, getting money back for our labor and for realizing the emotional value of what we're delivering to other people. And what I mean by that, in the world of CNC, we can be extremely creative and make stuff that is extremely personal, personalized and extremely personal, depending on what people want. And that type of stuff raises the emotional value of what you make. So if we just go out and make cutting boards, well, everybody and their brother makes cutting boards. Go look at Etsy. You'll run into about 50 pages of cutting boards, right? You got to make your cutting board stand out. Ideally, I'd suggest you stay away from cutting boards if you're going to be on Etsy, because you're standing in a field of all your competitors. Ideally, you want to find out where your market hangs out at. But let's kind of get into this thing of business. Business is a spiritual thing, okay? Business, at the end of the day, is an act of service to other people. People out there have a need. So everybody has needs, me, you, and everybody else on the planet. And when we get into the CNC space and we find a space of need that people have, right? And so when we look at business as an act of service, like I'm gonna give you an example here with IDC Woodcraft. So I built this whole business out of the idea that there are people out there that need help. They're trying to understand this whole world of CNC, and the industry out there treats themselves as independent. Software treats themselves as an independent. The router bit companies treat themselves as an independent. The machine companies treat themselves as independent and don't really teach the whole ecosystem. And so I made it my mission to teach the ecosystem and kind of be the one place gives you all the information, right? So this is an act of service because I know that people out there need help. They want to understand how to do this. They're scared when they get into it. They're very intimidated by the software and those machines and what they're going to be doing with them. And sometimes we have to get our ego out of the way. If you've been woodworking by hand all your life and you're maybe thinking, I don't necessarily want to depend on a machine for something I've been so proud of doing, but sometimes our bodies aren't working quite right. So they dive into it, and it's a whole new game. So the reason I'm kind of giving this example is IDC Woodcraft at its foundation is an act of service to you. And in return, first of all, IDC Woodcraft serves a need. It provides tooling for you. It provides things like the setup sheet. I provide videos that walk you through how to do the software. I'm a router bit company, but I teach you all the other stuff, how to set up your machine, stuff like that, right? It's an act of service. So I want you to start thinking in the terms of service and giving. So this whole idea of this mindset of I need to make money off of this and feeling kind of panicky about it, this is actually going to keep you from succeeding. If you get into the idea of this is an act of service, and by doing the service, I am also worthy of receiving, then but you give without the expectation of receiving, the world will hand a silver platter to you. It's just kind of an interesting thing because you're coming in with a gratitude mindset. So this whole this is really foundational in this stuff. This is to me, it's a very much an act of service. No matter what we do, when it comes to business, it's all an act of service. So try to take that into your heart. And if you feel really tight on money and you feel like you need to make money now, patience is a virtue. You've heard that term, right? And so we really have to get in touch with ourselves and catch ourselves feeling like that. And once we start to grab that kind of feeling that patience is a virtue, this is going to happen. I'm just going through the learning cycles. I'm going through what I have to go through in order to get up this hill, sometimes feels like a mountain, that eventually you're going to get there and you're going to start seeing the sun. So forget about the money. This is what I've got right on my list here. Forget about the money. The money will come. Just when you're making things and you're going to places, if you're going to craft shows or you're online at Etsy, get advice from those who have done it. And you also want to really study the platforms that you are deciding to engage on, right? Whether it's Etsy. I'm going to say this: there's many people that don't really like Facebook, and especially people our age. I mean, I'm not a big social media fan, but there's some people that just I just won't do that. This is one great way to get your business started. All right, is to just post your stuff on Facebook. We have to get over our own ego if we're going to start a business. And if there's this peeve about social media, Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or something like that, this is the way the world works now. And this is where a lot of people hang out at. When you got 4 billion people hanging out on Facebook, you might want to be hanging out on there, right? We have to get our egos out of the way. So I've talked about attitude. Attitude is a really big thing, realizing that business is an act of service. Now, this may sound very convoluted because I'm talking about CNC business, but these are the foundations of all business that succeeds, right? It's not about you. Business is not about you. It's about the customer. And your customer doesn't care about you unless you are helping them solve their problem. And their problem may be they just want a flag for their grandpa who just hit 80 years old, and they want to honor his time in the service. And so you want to carve something that's meaningful to them. So it's really a big thing for us to the more we can get out of our head and realize that this business is an act of service, we can start to empathize with people. And when we empathize with people, what that means is you are starting to understand how they feel, and you are talking to their feelings. And when you are talking to their feelings, they get the feeling that you get them, and that makes them like you. And that sets up this thing of what we call reciprocity. This is a foundation in business. Reciprocity is when you deliver and you over deliver to people. There's this underlying sense that we have this indebtedness to a person or a group or whatever it might be. It's kind of like if you borrowed $10 from somebody 10 years ago and you still haven't paid them back. Every once in a while, you think about it and it bugs you. I still got to pay that person back. Right? That's the power of reciprocity. So some questions are coming up. So good. Julianne is starring those, and Liberty is as well. We also have Ellen in the background, so we're going to bring her on in a little while. It's going to be so cool to have you on board, Ellen. Another thing about attitude, and I see this a lot more than I wish I could, than I wish I would. So there will be people out there that say, well, we live in such a bad economy now, right? Or the economy is in a recession or something like that. And for me, I pay no attention to it. Zero. In my world, the economy is the best it's ever been. And that's part of attitude. When I engage in listening to that stuff, to me, it's a bunch of bullshit. I don't live in a bad economy. Right. So what the world says, forget it. Forget what the world says. You are on your mission. And we, as business people, we can either choose to let the world dictate what is going to happen in our lives, or make a decision to determine and take your own choice and not blame the government, taxes, the economy, things like that. You want to create your own economy, and just realize the economy is great. Doesn't matter what you hear. I turn it off when I hear people talking about a bad economy. I walk away. When people are talking about negative stuff, I walk away. I have no room for it in my mental space. I don't want it. It's that if I've gotten so tuned to this that it feels like dirt on me now, and I have to go take a shower every time if I listen to this kind of stuff for too long. So decide that you are going to create your own economy. The rest of the world is not going to dictate how your life is going to turn out or how your CNC business is going to turn out. The one thing that business people do is they take risks. Now, I got to hand it to you. Every one of you've already taken a risk, right? You bought a CNC router and you didn't know what to do with it. You dove into YouTube, started doing whatever you had to do. You made mistakes. You broke router bits. You turned the machine on. You actually got to that point, said, I'm going to do it. And so fear and taking risk is part of business, right? And we have to recognize that fear and taking risks is a part of business. We have to go through that. Business does not succeed without making mistakes, without walking into fear, and without taking risks. You cannot have a business if you don't do that. I didn't realize this until I had a mentor and I started doing what my mentor told me to do, and just how I had to change my attitude, and started to take some risks. IDC Woodcraft got started with $5,000, and I only had $25,000 to my name. That was it, retirement and everything, right? It was taking a huge risk. The other thing is to become a learner. Again, I'm going to stop for a minute for those who have popped in. I'm talking about business and what it takes to have a successful business. And the things that I'm talking about don't really sound like CNC business. These are what I'm sharing with you is foundations for all business to succeed. And this works for CNC business. It works for router bit companies. It works for restaurants. It works for any business. If they get in this mind, if they start to work on their mindset. And about 90% of businesses, business owners, they don't get into this mind space of businesses is an act of service. It's an adventure. It's risk taking. It requires patience. Sometimes it's very frustrating. And the one time we have to be really aware of ourselves and our own attitude is when it gets frustrating. That's when we got to call ourselves out and say, wait a minute, it's not a good day. I'm getting in a dark spot about this whole thing. And we have to catch ourselves, because it's the frustrating moments that's revealing some things that go on inside. When I have frustrating moments, I step back and I say, what does this have to teach me? What do I need to learn here? When IDC releases a product and a product flops, right? It's not a mistake. It's not a waste of money, even though we spent $10,000 on our inventory. Right now we've got, Julianne, how much, Liberty, how much of that one product we got on board right now, right? Maybe about $15,000 worth of product that we had to pull off the stock and will not sell again because it had quality issues. I had to bite the bullet on that one. It's a hard one to swallow, but it's the price of doing business. The idea is, what can I learn from this, right? And so it is a lesson, right? So, and business is a lesson, but the beautiful thing about business is we have to be a learner. If you want to have a successful business, you have to be a learner. In the world, we get out of school and we're done learning. In business, you never stop learning, ever, because we don't know what we don't know. And we don't know what we're supposed to know. And that's why I say go to people who have been there. It's like asking a broke person how to manage your money, right? You don't do that. It's asking someone who never exercises how to diet and exercise right. You don't do that. They don't know, right? So you go to the people who do know, right? So you want to find people who have the experience, who've done it. And when you see people on YouTube, you can reach out to them. But what you want to do, because if you want to go that route, or just find someone in your area who's just successful in business and they seem to, gold keeps flying at them or something like that, go ask them, give them some guidance. They understand something, and you want to learn what that is. But if you want to approach people on YouTube, like if you want to go do really good in Etsy and you want to go to Ryan, right? Ryan, he's got a he's got a business with 30 employees. It's generating millions of dollars. You need to add value to him first instead of just asking him, right? It's the way, because we have all been through this mill, and then now we've got a lot of people that we're serving, and it's hard sometimes to spend time or a lot of time with people. So again, never hurts to ask. Someone said that, like asking, STL, so asking me about setting up your Rotary and your Avid, right? Yeah, there you go. All right, you ask people who know. It's one of the things in CNC. This is why I say, tell people, get into Kyle's course if you're new with the Vectric software. Kyle has a course. It's a full-blown course that teaches you the software. Many of us will sit there and try to figure out the software ourselves, and we just beat the hell out of ourselves because we don't understand it. We make mistakes. We don't understand why the design isn't working. And had we taken the time to learn it through a structured program or something like that, then you would be much better. It all makes sense. So anyway, be a learner. Don't be a lone wolf. This is something I've been wanting to do for a while, and we're getting close to put something like this in the works, is to develop this type of platform to teach people how to do this stuff, how to start thinking, and then how to start finding the resources to promote your stuff, how to build websites, and how to promote on Etsy. I'm going to give you a little tip right now with Etsy. Don't put one item on there. Put it this way. Focus on one or two items, but plaster hundreds or 10, 20 different postings of the same item, just with different towards different people. If it's military, it'd be military gift for men, military gift for women, military gifts for dad, right? The same product, 3 different posts, because Etsy won't penalize you for that, and you'll be spreading yourself out with a broader spectrum of people who are searching for things. So you want to be a learner. You want to study business. You don't have to study hard, but you want to study what people do who are successful. So when you are when you are watching people who have succeeded, and it doesn't have to be in a CNC business, just that they have succeeded, pay attention to their personality, their persona, their character, how they carry themselves, how they talk, because words reveal a person. And if you listen to how you talk, if you use a lot of negative words in your terminology, and then if you catch yourself, you're going to start to realize, wait a minute, I might have a negative perspective in my own mind. For example, I don't use the word can't. I don't use the word try. It pisses me off, and I call people out when they tell me good luck, because there's nothing about luck when it comes to growing a business. Right? It's learning to build a skill. And so we want to know where to start at and how to start navigating that. And I can't really, I caught myself right there. I said the word can't, right? I don't know how to relate this in this short period of time, because it is a mindset change. But I just want you to make sure that you start to understand that it's a matter of thinking, a matter of perception towards the world, a matter of perception of an understanding of other people. The big one that I think that you should do is create a vision for yourself. Here's what I see with most CNC creators when they're going into a business, is they just start to throw mud at the wall. They'll make a product and they'll maybe try to get it out there on Etsy or something like that, but they don't really study how to post something on Etsy. But what they don't really do is take the time to decide, what do I want to be looking like in 3 years? What is the vision for my business? How much money do I want to be making every month? And this is what I'm going to stop right there, because money is huge. Many people don't feel they're worthy of a good dollar for their hard work, for the knowledge, for providing something that has value to somebody else. And Ellen is, I'm going to be asking her a lot of questions because she's going to share. I'm going to ask her to share a lot about her experience and how it started and where she's at, so she can share the story. But vision, create a vision for your business. See it in the future. If we're just trying to make things work and we don't have some kind of strategy, it's always going to fail. It might look good for a moment, but it's always going to fail. At IDC Woodcraft, I've got like a 20-page document here, and this is called the Vivid Vision for IDC Woodcraft, right? It's got the mission, it's got the vision, it tells the culture of the company, who's going to work for IDC Woodcraft, the drive, the attitude, our responsibilities, that everybody takes ownership. They all, communication, honesty, respect, things like that. And it goes very deep into what IDC Woodcraft is going to look like in 3 years. All right. My dream, my goal has always been to make IDC Woodcraft a brand. And the people that are in it right now, Julian, Liberty, Adam, Richard, Cami, they are on the ground floor, right? They are going to be up there on that tree. Got some questions coming in. Very good. Create your vision. Really step back and think about a vision. What do you want it to be? Business does not succeed with a vision of money. I want money. I want money. It's never about the money. It's always about beyond the money. It's always about security. It's always about emotional satisfaction. It's always about getting out of something you don't want anymore. For example, retirees, they come into retirement and suddenly realize retirement isn't what it's cut out to be. I'm bored to death. I've lost my sense of purpose, and I need something for me that feels creative, and I want to serve a greater good. So we have to take the time to learn, be selfish about your own learning, and then you can start to serve others in the way that you do your business. And when you're in that attitude of service, it just feels good. In the big picture, you feel like you're doing the right thing. I'm going to stop for a moment because I do want to take a couple of questions. So, first of all, I'd just like to ask, is this making sense to you? Right? I know I'm not answering technical questions on how much you should charge. I'm not saying where you need to go, how to build a website, all that kind of stuff. That's technical stuff. Business is a mindset. So I want to know if some of this stuff is making some sense to you. So put in the comments if it is or not. If something is registering, I really want to know if we're starting to hit something at all. So I'm going to look at the comments for a minute. I am getting some yeses. Thank you, Flash and Mark and Pollywogs, Woodcrafts, like that. That's a cool name. All right. Let's dive into a question here. All right, from Jeremy Jordan, Double J Patriotic Design. Boy, that's a name, brother. Okay, I've been trying with some feed and speed rate to improve carve times. Okay, so we are not really talking about feeds and speeds and carving tonight. So, Julianne, so who all is watching this here? We're not going to really deal with these kind of questions tonight. I will answer this since it came on board, but we're not going to deal with how to set projects up, what are feeds and speeds, how to do this in Vectric and stuff tonight. This is strictly business. So, but because I brought it up, we will answer it. Been toying with some feeds and speed rate to improve carve times, and I have the Elite. That's the Onefinity with the 80 millimeter spindle. What percentage do you think raising your listed feed rates would be to choose? Okay, so good question. So the feeds and speeds for that machine, you can probably double them. All right, we'll just put it at that. You can probably double them. Even the depths. Now, you want to be careful because when you're getting down to a 16th diameter bit or a 32nd diameter bit, you want to maintain what you got. So, Kenny, do you prefer local selling or online selling? So, personally, I love this question because realize that when you are spending your time selling local, if you are at a craft show, you are selling your time, and your time is depreciating in value for every hour you are standing out there. Right. And you have no guaranteed customers. It's not predictable. Now, if you like being around people, you want to hang out on a Saturday night and do that, or Saturday during the day, that's fine. Right. Just remember that in the world that we're in today, the world of online, we all go online to shop for stuff. So you want to think on that. Mark is connected with Steve, Mark Lindsay. So if he's still watching, Mark, why don't you put Steve's name down? Steve builds websites for you. So he's got a service that will do that. And if Mark is not on board, I don't know if he is, because I have not been on that live feed too much here. I'm looking at the questions right now. But you watch Mark Lindsay, he talks about it in his lives. He usually talks about it right at the beginning. Ideally, you want a website, but you don't need a website right off the bat. Right? Get your feet wet. If you are getting your feet wet, and go online, go to Etsy, study Etsy, go to YouTube, find people who have done stuff on Etsy and they have been doing it for a while. They should have some links to their store on Etsy so you can see what they do. All right. Etsy is a fine place to start off. But I want to say study Etsy. This is one of the other things you need to understand the market you're selling to. Because if you don't understand who you're selling to and why they're buying, then you don't know how to talk to them. People buy out of emotions, not logic, right? So we need to understand their emotions, the emotional thing that's around them. This kind of gets into the next thing I want to talk about, which is what kind of products do you want to make? I hope I answered that question. I prefer online selling because the internet is up 24 hours a day. And I will go to bed and wake up and there's 5-10 orders in the IDC Woodcraft shopping cart. Right. So but it takes a while to do that. But Etsy, when you're online, it's up 24 hours a day. You got to sleep. So let the system work for you and work with you. You don't have to make it complicated. That's why I say Etsy is a great place to start, because they got all the back end built up already. Yes, they're going to take their cut. They should take their cut. They got a service that's helping you. So, okay. Another question from Ziggy M. Garrett, please tell them, very important, make a business plan first before you do anything. So, yeah. So Zig, I do appreciate that, but I don't embrace the business plan right off the get-go. And here's why. Because, well, I never built a business plan ever. I've got a vision. I built a vision, right? That's what this is right here. And everything I do is based on the vision. A business plan can be overwhelming when you're just starting out, when you're just feeling out what you want to be making, what the market is buying, what is the right stuff, the right target to go after. Once you have that and you've made some sales and you're consistent, then you can build a business plan if you want to. All right. A business plan. Now, I'm not going to diss this at all, because business plans become your Bible. They become your guide. They become the rule that you go back to when you want to stray. You say, what does my business plan say? So I don't say, no, don't build a business plan. I just say, make sure that you are starting to function in a direction that you want to function right off the bat. And you start to see some progress. And once you see that progress, once you know that this is what you want to do, you've found your groove, this is working, then build a business plan. Because it's hard to build a plan when we don't know what we're going to be doing. And when we don't know what we don't know, especially if we don't have the business savvy or haven't started to educate ourselves on how business is. Another thing you want to do is start learning from people who market. Learn about marketing. Now, marketing, they talk about selling. I've heard many people say, I don't know how to sell. I've never done that. Selling is something we have to learn how to do, but we don't have to be the sleazy salesperson. Nobody likes that anyway. We just need to learn that sales is not about what we are doing. It's how we are helping them find us and how we are solving their problem. All right. If we solve the problem and we're consistent with it, then they will find us. Okay. I do appreciate that last comment, though. Thank you. All right. From our man, Dan Garrett, is your mentor local to you? Okay. Do you meet up in person or just online, telephone? How often do you check in with them? How did you find them in the first place? So you can find my mentor online. His name is Dan Locke, L-O-K. And he's mentored me for 5 years. We actually talk in person once a month for an hour, but we do engage in a channel, what they call Slack. It's just a way we communicate. And that's almost on a daily basis that we will talk. And I see him about twice a year, once or twice a year. He's in Vancouver, Canada. So we never get on the telephone. Don't need to. Got all kinds of other ways to communicate. So got Slack, got Telegram. I don't do it on Facebook or anything like that. It's too public. So hope that answered your question. My mentor, I pay a lot of money to, a lot of money. And sometimes it's hard to pay that money. But I do know that if I'm not willing to invest in my knowledge, I can't have the returns on that. It's a well-known thing that once we do that, I pay for my mentor. I pay my mentor directly. And if I'm not willing to invest, I'm not going to see what I want in my life, right? I want security like anybody else does. All right. But I knew that coming into retirement, I did not have not only the wherewithal, I didn't have the finances. I didn't plan right. So I had to start to understand money. And I just look at myself and understand my understanding of money and how was I going to change it? How was I going to change? What was wrong with my money picture? Why didn't I have enough savings for retirement? But I'm a teacher. I've always been a teacher. So I had to find a way to become a teacher. Sub 7. What do you think the average age is? Around 40, 50 years old for a CNC machinist these days. I find it odd that the younger generation is not catching up here. What do you think the average age is? Around 40, 50 years for CNC machinists these days. Well, I do know that. So basically the way I'm taking this question is the younger generation is in a different world now, right? They're in a world of, we're all in it, right? We're all in a world of instantaneous satisfaction. And a lot of people aren't willing to do the work but that's not new, right? It's not just the young generation these days. It's not new. A lot of people just don't want to do the work to get themselves to a point where they own their lives, right? They depend on the paycheck, or they think that they depend on their own. I'm not sure what the right term is. 90% of the people go with what the world tells them to do, right? And we don't really pay attention a lot to ourselves and the longer term gain. And it's not just today. It's not just the youth of today. It's been like that forever. So but there's a different world. We do things right now. The attention span is about 2 seconds, I think. Less than that, 1.3 seconds. I don't know what the stats are, but Julianne's going like this. She knew I was looking at her. Okay, so it's an interesting point, though. You can do very well becoming a CNC machinist. Go work for a company. They're always looking for good machinists. I do know that there's not nearly that type of trade skill out there these days. And once you know this, you're a CNC router owner. You are a CNC machinist. Once you get to know that, you are actually giving yourself a new skill. All right, Ellen, hang on. Let's see, where are we at? So I'll bring Ellen on in a little bit. I think I've said that like 5 times so far. All right, let's get one more question. I'll bring Ellen on. So from Mark Eldon, hey man, what's going on, Mark? Do you think that focusing on a few things that you do well is it important to try to do more complex and intricate projects? Okay, I like this. One of the things that many people do when they get into CNC, they want to make these really fancy projects right away. We all done it. I did it, right? And we want to make these 3D carvings that we're going to sell out in the marketplace. We don't realize 3D carvings take forever to carve, right? You want to keep it simple, and you want, Mark, you're dead on. You're dead on. You want to keep it down to 1 or 2 products. Get good at that. How do you pick out the products? Well, you can do a couple things. You can say, what are you passionate about? What do you understand? A lot of people aren't very confident when it comes to business and starting business, but you are definitely confident about something you're passionate about. Jeeps, right? I'm a Jeep guy. You can talk to me Jeeps all day long. I'm super confident on that. And I know exactly what makes me feel good about Jeeps. And that, therefore, I know exactly what makes other Jeep owners feel good. And I can make products all day long around that. I don't, because I'm a teacher. So when you are trying to determine what to make, don't let the pollution out there on YouTube, sell this, sell this, sell this, sell this, sell this, get you caught up in the quagmire of getting you confused. It does that. Find out what people want, or just make something and put it out there. That's why I say embrace social media. Just make a few things and get it out there on your social feed, not in the CNC Facebook groups, in your personal social feeds. Nobody in Facebook groups is going to buy off you because we're all making stuff, right? So get it out there in your personal feeds. I made this for my wife, whatever it might be. Or if you law enforcement, right? Make something around law enforcement. Show your law enforcement buddies. People start buying if you get enough eyeballs on you. That's the whole thing in business. The more eyes you have on you, the better you will do. And at the end, focus on 1 or 2 items. Know your market. And the way you know your market is by starting off with something that you're passionate about. If you're a fisherman, you know fishermen, you know fishing, you know the little things that they need, right? The little cool lures that whatever it might be, or some kind of whatever. I don't know, but I'm not a fisherman, so I couldn't tell you. And identify what you're emotionally attached to. Once you know that, you can talk those emotions right now. And yeah, so it's a good idea to start turning off the ideas of sell this, sell this, sell this, sell this. When people are saying that, they make it sound easy, and it's not. We got to come up with a plan, and we ideally want to be consistent in what we're making and not make 100 different things. We're going to bring Ellen on board. This is Madra, and Ellen, you got. Let's just check your audio. Say something. Nope, no audio. It's all right. Work on your audio. Let's see if we can get that going. And in the meantime, as you're working on that, I'm going to put you in the back. And if the girls need to get a hold of you to help you out, you can put your number in the private chat there, and they can talk to you. So we'll bring Ellen on board. Ellen has done a very interesting business, and she started off not so long ago at the very beginning of CNC. She'll tell you maybe a year and a half, and she's already got a very interesting thing going on. And she'll tell you how she found it, and it'll help give you ideas of how things just seem to happen. So I'm going to ask her another question. Let's see. All right, that was from Mark. Got that. And from Michael. Michael, with the market flooded with so many of the same items, how do you find something? So this is a good question, right? It's not about the flooding of the market if you know your audience, right? So if you are going to sell to a higher end audience, the market's not flooded there, right? This is why we got to know our think about router bits. If you don't realize that there are a shit ton of router bit companies out there, but IDC Woodcraft has made itself a brand. How did I do that? I did it through consistency. I did it by adding value. I did it by realizing that I am providing a service to someone else, and there's always someone else on the other side of the transaction. I want to bring the girls back on board real quick on that one. Liberty, Julianne. I want to talk about this a little bit about
Drink all the water.
all of it. All of it. Yeah.
I don't think she even realizes that she's on right
She
now.
doesn't realize she's on. Hi, Liberty.
I can't hear.
There she is. Okay, are you ready?
No.
No? Okay. Right,
You're just coughing people on, Garrett.
Yeah, you've got to give us some sort of warning.
I'm sorry. My bad. Anyway, I just want to talk about real quick about the what I was talking about. Liberty was that IDC Woodcraft is a service-based company. It's a value-based company. People are always on the other side. We never forget that. And I just want kind of you guys to give your perspective on this. And the reason I'm doing this, guys, is because I want you to understand this is what you do in business, no matter what business, CNC business, any business. So talk a little bit about this whole philosophy that we have at IDC Woodcraft.
So I will say I was passively listening. I just didn't hear the matter of fact of bringing us in.
It's all right.
But
you're hanging back for a long time, so it's
built an identity around taking care of people. I feel like you remind us weekly, and more so, of like thinking about the customer. What does the customer need? What is the customer, gonna benefit from this, and so on.
And also the aspect of make them feel like they're valued, like
make them feel special.
Yes, make them feel special and give them somebody that they can absolutely talk to. If they have questions, if they have problems, email, phone, Etsy messaging, message to seller. Those are, if you're actually a person that they can relate and talk to, that's the best thing, especially in the age of AI and automation. So,
all right. Okay. Thanks, girls. Sorry for the sudden thing. I'll try to do better on that one. All right. We're going to get Ellen back in here. All right, Ellen, let's give this a whirl. Nope. Still have no audio, sister. Nope, not yet. So she's doing, I'm going to keep her on board because that's the only way I can tell if her audio is working. In the meantime, I'm going to answer a question from Cosmin. What quality do you consider wholesale, and what price cut would, Ellen, I think we got something going on there. What price cut would be reasonable for a wholesale customer? Okay, so this is kind of a technical question. So what quantity do I consider wholesale? It is kind of an open statement because it really depends on the product that you're doing. If you're making something like whiskey smokers, I don't know. I would just figure 10, maybe 5, depending on the thing, right? You could go up to 100. What would what price cut would be reasonable for a wholesale customer? Generally in the marketplace, the more they buy off you, the bigger the price cut. But you don't want to go dramatic. You don't want to go 30%, 40% below retail. You don't want to lose too much on your end. You still have to make money. At the end of the day, your job in doing a business is to turn a profit, period. You are not in business if you're not turning a profit. So you want to get to that. Sorry, Ellen, you on?
I think so.
You gotcha.
Hey, I had to put the,
All right. So CNC brothers and sisters, you've been dialoguing with Madra, right? And Kate and I have talked about her many times, Ellen. And Ellen has been very active in the Women Who CNC group and in CNC in general. And she's always here on the lives, and she hangs out on Mark's lives, and you're a big part in the CNC community these days.
I have to. If I want to continue learning, I have to do it.
Right. Okay, so Ellen, let's talk about this. Let's get when did you start CNC? When did you actually like hit the buy button for a CNC machine?
Just over a year ago.
Over a year
So
ago.
maybe it's been a year and a half.
Okay.
October 2023. Is that
Okay.
right? 2022? What year are we in?
We're in 24 now.
Okay. So I'm thinking it was August 2022.
Okay. All right. So year and a half. And August 2022, 23. Yeah. Well, we were starting to creep up to 2 years. Not quite though. But
Not quite.
so okay. So why did you buy a CNC machine?
I didn't.
Okay.
My partner did.
Oh,
And he's
okay.
like, trust me, you're going to like it. It'll give you something to do. And I said, what is it? And he's like, you'll have to wait and see. And then he tells me that it has all this computer stuff and it has all this. And I'm like, I don't even know how to read a ruler. And you want me to do what? Yeah. So he bought it for me because he thought I would like it.
Okay. And so you weren't, it wasn't a volunteer purchase.
I didn't know anything about it.
Okay. So you got it. Or you're looking at it like, what the hell is this newfangled
I'm
thing?
watching him put it together and I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's shiny. And he's trying to tell me about, oh, well, this is the Z axis and this is the Y axis. I'm like, ooh, A, B, C, D. I can do ABCs. He's like, oh boy.
Uh,
Yeah,
okay.
so I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what a bit was. I didn't know what a router was. But I'm like, as soon as that machine turned on and all of a sudden it just went, and then it went into the wood, I was like, oh, wow, that's cool.
Sweet. Okay. So
Right.
okay. So now then you had to learn. So yeah, you had to learn.
I had to learn. It took me quite a bit because I didn't even know how to save a file on a computer. I had to get help logging into Facebook, getting yeah, I didn't. I was sheltered.
You still had a dial telephone, didn't you?
I did. I
And
did.
okay, so let's kind of fast forward. So because this is really about CNC business, right? And the reason I wanted to bring you on board is because you kind of fell into a very interesting thing. And so what I would like to do, if you're okay with it, is share what you do and then talk about how this navigated in. And the reason all who are watching, this was like an accident waiting to happen, and it just happened. So it's the magic of someone with a very positive attitude, and this is where it goes back to attitude. Okay, I got this thing. I'm going to learn it. Yeah, whatever. Of course, she had her frustrating moments, bit breaks, and all that good stuff. But so what do you do now with your CNC router?
I make parts for jukeboxes, and it's pretty cool. Not just any jukeboxes, vintage, pre-war jukeboxes like from the 1930s to the 1940s. We're going to be skipping into a few old newer models, but not too much because it's a lot more chrome.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Making speakers and speaker boxes for pinball machines and old speaker boxes, and yeah, it's pretty incredible. I have a jukebox, a 1946 1015 Wurlitzer number 930 off the lot in my living room that I'm going to be restoring.
You sent that picture to me. It's a beautiful machine.
It's so bad.
Yeah. So what I want to do is give people some hope in this whole CNC business thing. How did this making vintage jukebox parts happen? Tell us the story.
I'm pretty pumped about this. Okay. okay, maybe a little too much at times where it doesn't unplug. Um, and I'm at a funeral home and I'm meeting some mixed family. And I'm like, oh, yes. And we have this CNC machine. And he's like, well, I'm getting this Grizzly. And I'm like, well, we have the long mill and I'm using Vectric and I'm designing my own files. And he's like, oh, well, maybe someday you'll work for me. And I'm like, okay, good day. I don't even know who you are, but all right, you know. And it turns out that he owns Victory Glass, and that's the vintage jukebox. And couple months down the road, he's like, so I have these parts that I need made, and think you can look at them and see what you can do. And I said, well, bring them over. And in about a couple weeks, I had some parts that we make, and I sent them on over. And he's like, oh yeah. And then for the last year, I've been dropping off parts on Friday, picking more parts up on Friday. And it's not just wood. It's I deal with phenolic, acrylic, some poly, something, wood, plywood, working with veneer coming up, and it's pretty cool.
And so this really just happened from some kind of side conversation that coincidentally happened at a funeral.
At a funeral, I know it sounds really terrible, but you know what? I'm not the dead. And it's not sadness about the dead to me. It's celebrating life that, hey, I'm still here and I get to see
Yeah,
all these people still.
absolutely.
And so I was just like, you're going to ask me how I'm doing. I'm like, I'm doing great. I found this new thing that I absolutely love and I'm getting the hang of it.
Yeah. All she did was tell people she had a CNC machine.
I did. I'm like, I have a CNC machine. Do you even know what this is? You know, it's a computer thing, you know? Yeah, it was great.
All right. So that's what you do. Is this like almost a full-time gig now or what?
I quit my job.
Oh, yay.
Right. Last year I said I'm either all in or not. So yes, this is my full-time job. I'm in my garage probably 10 hours a day whenever for the most part, 10 hours a day.
Right.
I design in here, I work in here, I have projects on the table. So, see, since you got me on here.
All right.
It's part of a back door for a Wurlitzer. So I take this piece and I have to measure everything down to spec to make it fit. So if it doesn't fit, it's not going to work because this is already going into something else. Gotcha. So I have how many different ops that I have to use my brain. It's incredible.
That's cool.
It's incredible.
That has got to be a lot of fun. I mean, there was a little sigh in there, but I mean,
sometimes it's really overwhelming because you don't have much of a tolerance. When I was just making signs and little trinkety trays and a few other things, I was like, oh, well, this looks good. Okay, cool. I was excited. This stuff has to be on and it has to look good, or the people that collect these thousands of dollar machines, why would they want these parts if they're not good?
Right.
I want that kind of client. I want that kind of customer. I don't want, here we go, your thing, Trader Joe's, Walmart. Yeah. I don't want that customer. I want the Macy's. I want.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So what she's talking about, for those who don't understand this Trader Joe's type of thing. So I've talked many times about the different levels of customers, right? You've got your Dollar General crowd. They're going to nitpick you to death about pricing down to the penny, and then they're not going to buy from you after they wasted a half an hour of your time. All right. And they're going to go on the cheap as much as they can. They'll steal from you at the same time. Right. Then you got your Walmart crowd, right? They more run of the mill. And then, of course, we all go to Walmart, but then you get your Kroger crowd, right? And then you get your Trader Joe's crowd, right? The Trader Joe's are the ones that they buy because they want value. That's what you want to. That's what you want to find. But here's the other interesting thing that you just shared, right? It's not always easy.
No.
Oh. And
it takes sometimes, because I design. There's no one else as far as we know, and this is coming from the Wurlitzer family that's in New York that originally started this whole company, to the owner of this company. As far as he knows, we're pretty much the only ones making it into digital file. There's jigs that people can cut these products out with, and I can use the miter saw. I'm making digital files.
Mm-hmm.
So you can just go click, I need 10 more of these. Click, I can, you need 50 more of these? Oh, yes. Let me get right on that one. Okay, that one costed me 50 cents to make, and I just charged you $6.
All right.
And you want 60 of them?
We'll do it.
Yes.
Yep.
Once you got have them for you by next Friday.
Yeah, once you got everything dialed in, it's just clicking the button and going.
Right. And I have a lot of repeat parts right now. So when it's just like, okay, let me pull up that file and I can get I'll need 2 days, and by the end of the day I'll have it done, but they don't need to know that.
Right. Yeah,
it's like
I'm going to bring up this statement from Ralph. He said it happened to him. He got his first commission job by accident. He went to a local rustic furniture maker looking for a slab, casually mentioned getting the CNC, called a week later for a job.
Yeah.
Right. So this is the other way of getting work. And this is the easiest way to get CNC work. Talk about what you do.
To everyone.
To everyone, yeah.
Be obnoxious. It's okay.
It is. That's selling yourself. You're selling yourself, and even if you don't have the skill quite yet, you got to let them know. And you can tell them, I don't quite have this down, but just give me a couple, another 3 weeks, and I'll figure it out. All right.
Right.
And that's the stuff that forces you to learn anyway. So get yourself out there.
Get yourself out there. And it doesn't have to be just signs. Everybody and no offense to anybody that does do cutting boards, you go for it, because they are a lot of work and it takes a lot of wood. Trust me, I made some and they turned up. How many, this is something that nobody else is doing.
Yeah.
I found my niche. I watched you for a year. Okay, almost a year and a half, we established that, but I got this because I took my time and paid attention to what you were saying. I paid attention to what Mark's saying. I'm paying attention to what Kurt and Mark's group, and okay, this is working. It's just taking a little time. Yeah. It's not like, I have my CNC machine and then next week I'm like making money and making parts. It's not that easy. Yep. You have to put your time in.
Yeah, you do have to put your time in.
Put your time in.
So you're here. I'm just going to bring this up. I'm going to just handle a couple of questions from Steve. What's the best way to determine shipping with using Etsy? Etsy's got their own shipping service. You can use that. We use Shopify shipping service. It depends how much you ship. If you're only shipping onesies and twosies, use pirateship.com. All right. If you're shipping quite a few, you want to find a more advanced service, or use Etsy. Etsy will charge you, which all services are going to charge you because they're providing a shipping service to get the shipping service.
Right.
Polywag Woodcraft. Do I have a shipping company that I like better than another one dealing with that online shipping? Okay. I think I'd like to bring the girls on board when talking about shipping and the services we've gone through and why we've gone through that. You guys willing to talk about that?
Right. Now I heard you have to prepare your own boxes, and it's like sounds like a lot of work.
Mhm.
Paper cuts.
Yeah.
Cardboard cuts are the
Cardboard
worst.
cards.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that. This one question. So talk about the shipping progression. Liberty, you've been on it at the longest.
So when I joined on, we were using Shipping Easy. And that is a lot more, I feel like, of a manual, outdated system. It's very manual. Different shipping systems we've had different shipping issues with. Some of them are more picky about, how you put the street in there. Some of them are more picky about whether you capitalize their first name or not. So that's one of the things you kind of just got to read a lot of the reviews on. Shopify we have moved to, and it is a lot more cohesive. You can put a lot more on it. I will say, like, every time we've improved our shipping system, things have kind of come more together.
Yeah.
So, before I had 5 pages I was operating off of to get things shipped out,
Okay. Yeah.
Now I'm operating 1.
Right. So the thing to remember here, we're shipping every single day. We're shipping 40 or 50 packages a day, right? So we have much more advanced shipping. So thanks, Liberty and Julianne for not saying anything.
What? I was going to add to it. You just started talking.
Bring it on.
I was gonna say that the shipping being integrated into Shopify is a whole lot easier. There's not the bouncing back and forth between Shipping Easy and Shopify to see if everything connects and goes over. At one point, there were orders that just weren't syncing between the two, so we were missing just, ever so often 1 or 2, and somebody would message and be like, "Hey, so guess what? I ordered this. I haven't got it." And we'd have to go back and be like, "Oh, we never saw this." So I think it also factors into if you're shipping internationally as well, because we do actually ship overseas. As you all can see in this chat, there's people from all over. When it comes to that, I believe having it integrated with whatever system that you're working with is a little easier, because you're not having to go and hunt down and Google to see if the international address actually exists.
Yeah.
That was a fun time. We get to stalk people that way. But yeah, it's just a matter of, like you said, Garrett, the amount that you're working with.
Yeah.
What you're shipping, how big it is.
Yeah.
And what, companies you have to do so. We use USPS, UPS. We haven't delved into FedEx, but we've gotten shipments from DHL. Just what's in your area, what's cheapest for you to do.
Right.
So.
All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to CNC, generally, you're not making a lot of stuff to really get a good integrated shipping system. But that just kind of tells you a little bit more about what goes on in the background at IDC Woodcraft and stuff that we have to migrate up to, right? When we're doing stuff, it's not just we're shipping out router bits. There's a lot that goes on behind it, a lot. So pirateship.com. If you ship once in a while, it'll work. It's a basic system, but you can do it. And then if you ship quite a bit, then Shipping Easy worked. It worked fairly well. UPS. Yep. Dan said UPS. All right. As far as a shipping company, as far as shipping service, we do USPS, we do UPS when we have outbound stuff. if I had my way, I would get rid of UPS, because UPS is a thorn in the side when it comes to international shipments and duty fees. So we are always looking at that. Always looking at that. Do I mentor as well? From Mark. So I was mentoring for a while, and then I stopped mentoring because I was still in the process of growing my business. I will probably, so I am working on, we're getting to a point where we can start working on this next level of business that I want to build that will offer that type of thing. So I'm hoping that we will start to be doing that in Q3. So thank you for asking that question. I will let people know when I start doing that. Business is a mindset, right? Again, looking at my notes here, let people know what you do. You can play on Etsy, but ideally you want to run into situations like what Robert ran into, what Ellen has run into. If you get yourself out there enough, you can start picking and choosing. Yeah, because people will start to come to you, and what you want to be careful of is not spreading yourself out in lots of different things. Take on a job or two. You run into something like what Ellen ran into. I mean, that makes me want to quit and go work for you.
It is pretty cool. I don't have to worry about shipping. I don't have to worry about sales because their website takes care of everything. So for everyone out there, try, I mean, do you have an amusement devices? Somebody that does rent with the bar systems, like the pool tables and the dart machines, and all those replacement parts are what? Wood. Pressed wood, MDF. Some, maybe they need their rack refixed, or their lock box around their doors where they put the money in. And I mean, I do a lot of cash doors. Why not? Go check it out. You can't, it won't hurt if you get told no.
I had somebody several years ago, this was before I was in CNC, they wanted me to make a front face for an ATM because it was in a high-end place. They wanted to look nice. Right? I could have done it if I had a CNC, if I was in it at that time.
Right. I'm in the process of designing my own jukebox face right now, just with older parts and modifying it. So it's my own design, however I want to come up with it to put the monitor. Sorry.
Right. No. If anything, this just gives you an idea of the world of opportunity that's out there in CNC, right? It's just up to us to go out and do it, and we have to make ourselves available to do it. And that's probably the biggest thing. You got to get eyes on you. You got to let people know, and going at that with a positive attitude, the world will find you. They will find you.
Yes. Well, Hernial Media, Steve, he just hooked me up. I have to figure everything out and log into everything, but he hooked me up with the email, the website, the YouTube, the Instagram, and a couple other things that he said he put in there for a Facebook group. I just have to navigate that. And he said he would help me out do that if I was having issues. So he is amazing.
Yeah. Steve actually built the site for me. We've since migrated out of that and into Shopify, much more advanced e-com platform. I do not recommend people going into Shopify unless you're making lots and lots of stuff, because Shopify is pricey. Okay, we got TP Sooner. When it's a product that I think would have a big market, even if it's not something you're supportive of or a fan of, or if you should be passionate about. Okay, I'm going to talk about something here. Yes, now I'm going to say each person is different, right? I did a video a few weeks ago where I made this little cheesy Trump 24 sign and Biden 24 sign. I said, which one should you make, right? And personally, I'm in business. I don't have an opinion. I will, because my opinion will not affect what other people think. But as a business, I can provide that emotional need. And I can tell you, election time is very high emotions, and people are willing to go out and spend money. They're willing to spend money. And if you don't provide for it, someone else is going to. All right. So this is where, as a business person, we have to take our opinions out. Right. You can have your focus of what you do. Like, I have a 0 tolerance policy for assholes, and I'll kick them out. Right. I kick them off the channel. But something like that, I don't care which sign I make. If somebody really wants to buy it, I'll make it for them and sell it to them. By golly, they're going to find somebody to do it anyway. So the answer, this is opinion, right? If somebody wants you to sell something and it's a big market and you can grow some money off of that, build a business out of it, by all means, do it. Right? Just do it, because people are going to buy it anyway. Be the person to provide it.
Take their money.
Yeah. Business is about making money. Bottom dollar, bottom line. Business is about making money. The world is about making money. Money makes the world go round. So there's plenty of money out there. I did a talk about this about 4 months ago, I think, about having a money mindset, and money is good to have. If I didn't build IDC where it was, I couldn't pay, the awesome people that I have, Julian and Liberty. I couldn't donate to St. Jude. All right, we've donated $52,000 the last 2 years. Right, we actually didn't do quarter one of this year yet, so I got to figure that out. Q2. Right, money's a good thing. So just go for it. Make the money. Right, build yourself your security. People are going to buy it anyway. That's my opinion. I like what Cherokee Vapor said. Everyone's money is green.
And if it's not, you know what? There's always like a way to do that exchange for money kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Money exchange. Yeah, I'll take coins too.
Yeah, take coins. Bitcoin, take that too.
Right, I'll take coins. Bitcoins. Okay, hook me up.
All right, we got Michael. But the only problem is you developed a brand along with some other companies made products for CNC. But to find a market to sell products from your CNC is the problem. But to find a market to sell products from your CNC it's not a problem. Okay, this goes back to what I've talked about before. So the way I've interpreted this question, Mike, is I developed a brand of router bits, right? The router, I solve a problem by teaching people. Router bits happens to be the way that IDC Woodcraft survives, right? And I generated income and be able to hire amazing people, right? I don't sell CNC products. Projects. I don't make them and sell them. I'm a teacher by heart, and so if I did that, I wouldn't be very happy. I wouldn't be fulfilling my thing. All right, so I've not been down in the dirt, but business operates this way, and so the one thing, this is what I said in the very beginning: to find a market to sell products from your CNC is the problem, and so, of course, you said this before Ellen came on board, and from her dialogue, you realize that we are our own problem. I'll summarize it like this: we are the only things that hold us back from our success. Period. Nobody else does, and it all comes from how we see the world. Okay, I have said this numerous times that do we see the world as a hostile environment, or do we see it as a prosperous and abundant environment? So the way we can answer that question is by paying attention to how we react to the world around us. Do we get angry a lot? Do we point fingers at at some other country because it's doing something, or are we blaming the economy? Are we blaming the election? Are we blaming presidents? Are we blaming taxes? Are we blame, or complaining? If you see yourself complaining or blaming, then that's a measure. This is for everyone, not just you, Mike. I just want to make sure that you understand that. This is how much we have to be aware of ourselves. If we are in that mode, we are going to be pushing success away from us. It won't be as much as we want. Kevin, 130 people at this point. How do I make my website be on top? I'm not sure I understand the question.
Because you're not afraid to promote.
I'm not afraid to promote.
You're not afraid to step out of the box and have a little fun with it.
Yeah. Well, so here's another way. If people are complaining, if you complain in general about advertisements, right, we have to honor that. A business doesn't grow without promotion. It just doesn't grow without promotion. And it starts with you promoting yourself that you have a CNC machine to other people. That's selling. Right. And then you learn the skill of selling as you move along, or it'll all just drop into your lap. Right. Like kind of like it did with you. Okay. But you had to say yes.
Right.
Search ranking. Okay. Okay. So on that question, how do I make my website be on top? And so Dave said search ranking. Okay. So how does my website pop up on page 1 on Google? Number one, this is a technical question, but number one is SEO. Well, I'm going to take this back. Google has switched from SEO to what they call generative SEO, I think is the way they termed it. And what that means is they are shifting away from keyword based, which is what SEO is. Okay, people are searching CNC routers. Okay, I'll make sure CNC routers is all over my website. What Google is now doing is it's searching for, is the information that's being provided, is it helpful information? All right. They're switching a platform so it works for the person who's doing the search and not more consumer friendly as opposed to business friendly. So the way your website comes on top is number one, use SEO, be SEO heavy. What that means is I'm a router bit company, so I talk about CNC bit kits, CNC router bit starter sets, CNC router bits. Then I'll refine that to long tail keywords. All right, long tail keywords being bull bits or CNC router bits for making bowls, things like that. That's what we call long tail keyword. All right, so the way you phrase things, you want to be conversational, and over time, Google will start to see you as a consistent business. That's not just hit or miss, fly by night. And when they see that, it takes a good 6 months for Google to start pushing you up. And your reviews mean a lot too. That's why I ask every time, leave a review for me, please. Right? That helps me. If you feel that I provide as a business and the team at IDC Woodcraft provides good service to you by doing something like this on Wednesday, the videos we do, the products that we provide to you, the customer service, that to leave a review for us on Google. Because Google will say, okay, I want that up. So you want reviews too. And Julianne even put in the comments there where you can leave a review. So here's the other thing. You ask for the sale. And here's asking for the sale. Will you please leave a review if you feel like this session tonight was helpful? All you have to do is click the link and you can leave a review. So there you go. Asking for the sale. That's exactly what I just did. So what, Ellen, some of the things I've talked about tonight weren't really technical CNC business, like, okay, where do I sell here? How much should I sell? Stuff like that. What's the relevance of what you think that I have shared tonight?
One more time.
So I did not talk about technical stuff when it comes to CNC business. Right? I talked more about mindset, about attitude, about knowing your worth, and how do you find that the stuff that I've shared? How do you find it relevant to what you do, and how do you find it relative in this business world that you have stepped into?
In my words, it took me a while to kind of get it. Like I said, when you were starting out with Kate, I was like, what the heck is he even talking about? It doesn't even make sense. Now that I have this goal, I understand why you're saying know your worth, know your client, have a good idea of what, don't be all over the place. Listen to your clients, whatever. Me, don't go all over the place. That's what I'm taking from you. Stick to this. Don't be all over the place. And that's since I started listening to you. So not just tonight, but know my worth. Don't undersell, don't short sell yourself, and put yourself out there.
Yeah.
If you don't put yourself out there, if you don't invest the time, you're not going to do it. You have to put your time in. You have to put the work in. It's not given to you. Sometimes you have to even stick your own money in to get ahead. But what do you want out of this? What is your vision? What do you want it to be?
Yeah. Yeah. Don't grab the money, grab the fun, grab the dream, grab the vision. The money will come. Money, there's a saying in business that money is a byproduct of adding value. All right. So, and there's many ways of adding value, making jukebox parts and having the skill to make jukebox parts. Boy, I couldn't even say that one time fast or slow. So yeah, let's see if there's any other questions. And we're a little early. I feel like I'm done. Is there anything else on my notes here?
You didn't talk about your calipers very much.
No, it wasn't.
I know, but they're so nice.
Yeah, the calipers. Did you get your calipers?
I got my no golden ticket. What's going on?
No golden ticket.
No golden ticket.
The girls didn't even know. We didn't know where the golden tickets were. So there's nothing.
If you don't play,
at the end of the day, we want everybody to win. That's why we ended up putting in that special discount code for everybody.
And you have to have fun doing that too.
Yeah.
If you're going to buy it, you might as well have a little fun with it.
Yeah. There is one more thing I want to add to this that's at the bottom of my list here for anyone who's doing business and wanting to get into business. You're going to find people that are going to resist you many times, sometimes, right? Sometimes I've seen spouses resist it, but there's also other people that may lash at the projects that you make, right? They don't agree with it, or it may not align with their beliefs or something like that. On my notes here, I have a statement: love that you have haters. If you are not getting people that are pushing back a little bit, then you're not doing it. You're not doing it far enough, right? So if there are people that are going to say that I don't like the word haters, but haters or people who push back at what you do, all right, that's a sign that you are doing your own thing. Because people that resist that, they resent that you are doing something for yourself, that you are trying to grow, that you're trying to build a business, right? They're in their own little world. They don't have the courage they were never taught to do, to go after their own dreams. And therefore there are some people that resent other people that do.
Why would you want to do that?
Yeah. Yeah. And believe me, I've had my share of haters, and some people have gotten quite nasty, right? It doesn't feel good, but I have to remember it's just their mindset, and my joy doesn't depend on them unless I let them. Steve, I want to say thank you for donating $10. Super
Nice.
sticker for taking some time. Folks, I hope that you got something out of this tonight. I would like to just see if there's anything that registered with what I shared. At the end of the day, what I've been trying to share here is that getting a business is creating a new identity for yourself. And it takes a different mindset. It takes patience. It takes a decision. It takes a vision. All right. Again, I do that. Creating the vision. Know that what you want to get beyond money. Money is just a thing, right? And money can always be gotten. But what you want to go after is the vision. You have to go, that's what you want to really focus on. All right, Ellen, looks like we got something here. Question for you. From Galaxy Federation. Such a cool name.
Do you have one major client or a number of them needing parts for their machines? I have one major client right now, and they kind of asked me to be exclusive to their parts, so meaning charging them more money. Keyword exclusive means more money, okay? In my world, you don't want me making other parts for anybody else, it's going to cost you. But no, right now I have one client and I make almost all their wood products and some. So,
Without getting into numbers, is it a comfortable return?
yes,
All right.
everything in my garage is completely paid for.
Sweet.
Yes, and it's everything in my garage. You can't see, but everything in my garage is paid for
Super
in the
cool.
last year, and that's with the Aspire that I just just went upgraded.
Yeah.
And I'm working on the spindle, but not till next year because I'm going to Texas. So,
Okay.
right, little bit at a time. Invest
Yep.
everything that I can.
Looks like Julianne and Liberty have popped a couple more questions at me. So, by the way, give Liberty and Julianne some love in the backside there because they're hanging out there. And okay, from the Double B. Hey, Gary, I just bought my first machine, but dreaming up of owning a CNC for a few years. I'm a business owner by trade and bought this just as a hobby. But tonight's live has opened my eyes up and to other possibilities. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. At the end, yeah, there's lots of possibilities. Make it fun. Make it a journey. There's going to be frustrating days, but make it fun. Ben West, hello, brother. We have a tornado in your city. Bassier, LA. Pray for us. All right, everybody, give Ben some thoughts. Give him some prayer. They had a tornado, so hopefully nobody was injured. And thank you for the contribution there, Ben. Michael, you agree with everything you and Ellen are saying, but did you start with selling bits or stuff? Or did you start making something on your machine? If you started on your machine, how did? Part two, how did I find this product to start with that nobody else is doing? Well, for me, I started off with these little Jeep key rings, and I put them on Etsy. Right, I had them laser cut because I didn't have my laser at the time, and cute little Jeep key rings, and they didn't sell on Etsy because my customer doesn't hang out on Etsy to find Jeep key rings. Right. So what I did, we have this art festival in September here in town called Chautauqua, and I set up a table and sold in a day $800 worth of these things, $3 a pop. All right, it cost me about 50 cents. No, I think they charged me $0.25 to make each one. So that's where I started. But fairly quickly, I made other projects, but fairly quickly I found that really wasn't my corner. My corner was teaching. And so I identified that router bits was a big problem. People didn't understand. There were no. I ran into a problem when I got a CNC router. It was like, what bits do I need? And nobody had a set. Nobody was answering a question. At least consistently. I would go to Facebook and there's all different kinds of answers. So I was just as confused by that. So I just saw a need and decided to solve it.
Right. And I started out with doing those little signs, like I said, little signs here and there, personalized projects. And I do the Clash of the Creek or King of the Creek for some 141 Speedway racetrack. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Start off. Yeah. I think everybody's kind of starts off with just anything and everything.
Yeah.
And that's good, because if you don't do that, then how are you going to find out what you're good at?
Yeah. Yeah. And just don't let yourself get broad. Don't try to make everything under the sun. Learn to say no. You can overwhelm yourself super quick.
I have 15 parts sitting behind me because I don't know how to say no. I said, oh, yeah, sure, I'm bored. Bring it on. Bring me what you got. And now I have 15 parts sitting behind me. But
Right.
the cool thing is I don't have to finish any of them. I don't have to paint them. I don't have to stain them. I don't have to. Cool.
The less work you have to do on something, folks, the better.
Right. Cut it out. Boom.
Yep. The more efficient it becomes, the better. The more you can cookie cutter them, the better.
Yes. Custom
work. If you're going to do custom, and Mark Lindsay has said this many times, right? And I absolutely agree with him 100%. If you're going to do custom on cookie cutter projects. If you make a bunch of cutting boards, just make 3 different types of cutting boards, and then you have a limited amount of customization that you put on them. Keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
As we say in business, the ultimate sophistication is simplicity. Most people haven't heard that. The simpler you can keep it, the more sophisticated. I don't know. It just works, right? You don't have to be sophisticated. You don't have to make lots of stuff. Just make something.
And make it good.
Yeah. All right. Guys, you keep putting questions out there. All right. What do we got? Let's see. Does putting a company name other than your own company name on a product that you created okay to do? Well, you don't want to violate trademark, and you don't want to put something on without a person's permission. Right. If you use another company. So this kind of a funny little area. A lot of people will make trademarked items for a friend, right? They might sell it to a friend. There's a lot of times that things like that get sold under the radar. But you don't want, at the end of the day, when people do that, you just don't want it to be above the radar. If you want to make a project for yourself with a company name, like people do it all the time, John Deere and all that stuff, by all means, go for it. Just if you're going to make a living out of it and you're going to promote it, like on Etsy or something like that, it's monitored. These companies watch it. Etsy watches it. So just be very careful if you're going to get it out there publicly.
Right.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I pay money, and we have done a lot of work to have this name trademarked. All right. You best believe I'm going to protect it. So, all right. I'm going to bring the girls on board. You ready, girls? Give me a thumbs up. All right.
They're like, yeah, okay, I'm ready now.
Okay. All right. So we are at the end of our evening, folks. Let's see. Okay. Anyway,
Liberty will have to get together later and talk about CNC stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Share your secrets and I'll share some of mine.
Deal.
And tell me about it later.
Later.
All right. Well, now you know who Madra is. That's Madra, who's always out there on the lives, Ellen. And now you know what she does. And yeah, the other side. We
Yeah.
can do the
I'm over
Brady.
here.
It's a story of a man named Brady.
Oh
Anyway,
boy, here
okay.
we go.
Yep.
Now we have to have a CNC themed one.
Right. So thank you all for hanging out. And yeah, don't forget to leave a review, please. And yeah, girls worked very hard getting the calipers out. So lots of packages went out. The post office is going more.
They had
They
fair
were
warning.
surprised with my one drop at the end of the day today.
Yep. And at the end of the day, I hope that you guys grabbed something out of this. This is not the technical stuff that I was teaching. This is all about the mindset, the heart set, the spirit of running a business. All right. Good attitude. Don't chase the money. The money will come as you add value, as you get work on yourself. All right. Always self-improvement. Never stop being a learner. With that, thank you, Ellen, for coming in at the last minute. And
Right. Thanks for having me on.
no, it's a total joy. Total joy. We'll get you in here more often.
I'm usually hanging out.
Yep. And everyone, give all the girls some loving, and thank you for showing up. We will be here next week. In 2 weeks, we have Hamilton, and then after that, we have Jace from Airweights. We're going to talk about vacuum systems on benchtop CNC machines. So that'll be a good one too. Another technical time. So
Fun stuff.
all right. What's that?
I said fun stuff.
Right?
Yeah.
Thanks,
Yeah.
you
More cool
guys.
stuff.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Ellen. Night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night. Okay, I'm gonna exit out of here.